Call the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Fretham.
Here.
McGuire.
Here.
Moran.
Here.
Ortega.
Aye.
Zhang.
Here.
And Reinhardt.
Here. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I will turn to Commissioner Fretham for the land acknowledgement.
Thank you. Every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will. Some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hope of a better life, and some have lived on this land since time immemorial. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We are standing on the ancestral lands of the Dakota people. We want to acknowledge the Ojibwe, the Ho-Chunk, and the other nations of people who also called this place home. We pay respects to their elders past and present. Please take a moment to consider the treaties made by the tribal nations that entitle non-Native people to live and work on traditional Native lands. Consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that bring us together here today. And please join us in uncovering such truths at any and all public events.
Thank you. I'm going to go a little out of order here because yesterday Commissioner Zhang and I were at the American Indian Magnet School on the east side of St. Paul, and she presented a proclamation for Indigenous America Day.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. It was such an honor to be in the presence of so many of the elders, healers, dancers, singers, and performers there who have really tried to hold on to a lot of those cultural parts of their identities. And it just reminds us all about how resilient our communities are and how those practices are what's brought us all here today too. So I just wanted to say that it was very humbling, very such an honor to be there. I also want to shout out to Nicole Bean, who is here. I've heard so many good things, and I saw so many Ramsey County departments who were there, and they were like, oh, thanks to Nicole. Thanks to Nicole for making all those connections there. And I know that it goes a long ways to meeting and supporting the needs of our communities, and also really what it means to, build transformative power within the community here. So I just wanted to uplift that. And also to say thank you for raising this up too, because every day should be Indigenous Peoples Day. And so this is a way that we can continue to honor and acknowledge the history, but also about building relationships and moving forward together. Thank you.
And I know I misspoke, Indigenous Peoples Day, but it was really great. I think all of us on this board have at some point worked with John Poupart, and he was honored there, and it was just, the whole event was just beautiful, and the dancers, the music, it was humbling. It truly was humbling. And I did talk about the fact that at the Ramsey County Board, we make a lot of decisions, and the philosophy of the Ojibwe people that you look 7 generations ahead is really something that we hold near and dear, because what we do today isn't just for our children, our grandchildren, but 7 generations ahead. Thank you. We will move on then to the adoption of the agenda for October 15th. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
I don't think.
Oh, no. Fretham.
Aye.
McGuire.
Aye.
Moran. Aye. Ortega.
Aye.
Zhang.
Aye.
And Reinhardt.
Aye. Sorry, I know we've got cancellation later on today's agenda, but so I got a little out of sync there. The minutes, do I have a motion on the minutes from October 8th?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Fretham.
Aye.
McGuire.
Aye.
Moran. Aye. Ortega.
Aye.
Zhang.
Aye.
And Reinhardt.
Aye. The administrative items, Commissioner Fretham.
Item number 3, amendment to the sole source agreement with the Metropolitan Consortium of Community Developers for the Ramsey County Open to Business Program. Move item 4, certification of property assessed clean energy charges for energy improvements. Move item 5, acceptance of the 2024 local affordable housing aid. Move item 6, transfer of excess municipal county state aid highway funds. Move item 7, county burial assistance program rate increase. And move item 8.
Pull. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Bretham.
Aye.
McGuire.
Aye.
Moran.
Aye.
Ortega.
Aye.
Jean.
Aye.
And Reinhardt.
Aye.
I'd like to move item 8, reappointment of Ramsey County Assessor.
Second.
And I pulled that just so we could make sure that we embarrass him and bring him up so that we can celebrate his work for the county. If you could just come up, Patrick.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the embarrassment. I am here. Thank you, Commissioners, for hearing me today. I am humbled. I'm an emotional person, so I'm sorry. I'm humbled by this position. When I started here 17 years ago, I didn't really aspire to this position, but as things happen, your aspirations change. And by the time that it was an opportunity to apply for this position, the aspiration was real, and the love for this job is real. As you guys have heard me before, Commissioners, I'm a true lover of the assessment field. I love Ramsey County, and I enjoy the challenge of making the office something that the residents and you all can be very proud of. I just want to acknowledge a couple of people, and I wrote it down so I would be, first of all, the current commissioners. You guys have been extremely supportive of me, and I really appreciate all that you have done for me in our office. I want to also talk about the help I've had from former commissioners like Commissioner Carter, Commissioner McDonough, and Commissioner Martinson. I've had a lot of support from all of those people. My Deputy County Manager, Karen Francois, has been instrumental in my growth and my being able to do this job in a professional manner. And then a couple of my predecessors that I would like to call out. Luis Rosario, who was the assessor right before me, and then before him, Stephen Baker. I worked closely with both of those people. And then a couple of people that really helped me grow inside of Ramsey County, Jill Gontarek and Teresa Novak. And then finally, I just want to thank my current staff, 3 of which are here today: Corey Erickson, Judy Lazar, and Tim Grawl, who have been instrumental in keeping our train on the tracks. And I really appreciate that, along with other people in our office who are extremely important: Aaron Thean, Annie Sims, and Lori Clark. So thank you very much for this opportunity to talk.
Thank you. There being no further discussion, roll call, please. Make it
Bretham.
official.
Aye.
McGuire.
Aye.
Moran.
Aye.
Ortega.
Aye.
Jean.
Aye.
And Reinhardt.
Aye. Congratulations and thank you. Okay, we will move on then to County Connections.
Yeah, good morning, Commissioners, Madam Chair. A few events happening this week, a couple today. Over at River Center, Workforce Solutions has been really engaged with the St. Paul Chamber doing Career Connect Day. I know some of you visited last year when we were over there, but there's well over 100 businesses over there engaging with bus loads of 10th and 11th graders from all throughout Ramsey County, and we're supporting the transportation for them to be able to meet with employers and talk a little bit about career opportunities in a hands-on way. Also today, over at the St. Paul Opportunity Center, there is a former military member support event happening from 10 to 2 p.m. It is a chance for veterans,
as well as their partners who have been in the military to be able to get services around housing vouchers, subsidies, employment, financial coaching, veteran benefits, Social Security benefits, and other services. This event is hosted by several departments of the county in partnership with the Minnesota Assistance Council for Veterans and the Minnesota Department of Veteran Affairs. So thank you to our Ramsey County Veteran Services Department for their leadership in that event today. It runs again from 10 to 2 over at St. Paul Opportunity Center. And then lastly, on Thursday, our Emergency Communications Center has been working hard on doing more outreach and engagement with our community. There's a new 911 Community Advisory Board being launched, and so there's an information session on Thursday from 6 to 7:30 at the Ramsey County Library in Maplewood. This is a chance for people to learn about the role and the impact of future Community Advisory Board for 911 and to understand how they can contribute to our emergency communication improvements. And so lots of things happening in Ramsey County amongst many departments that residents can engage with. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on then to outside board and committee reports. I knew it was here. I was trying to figure who was first. Okay, who wants to go first today? Commissioner Fretham.
Don't have much. Capra W had their governance committee last week, so we discussed moving to the next step with our conflict of interest policy and establishing differentiated policies for board staff and volunteers. And then also we are beginning a bylaws review. We haven't done a comprehensive one in a couple of years, so it's time, although we have made updates along the way. So hopefully we'll be able to get that done by the end of the year.
Commissioner Ryan.
All right, good morning, everyone. Just a few things. I do want to say Happy Indigenous Month Day, year.
Yes.
I had the opportunity last year to present a proclamation there at the school and was just amazed of the vibrant colors and the dance and the celebration. Just a really awesome opportunity to lift up the culture in the community. So Indigenous Peoples Day replaced Columbus Day here. For those who don't know, we are recognizing the value and the contributions of the Native American community. I had a really good conversation yesterday with individuals who was like, today is Indigenous Day, and it's a federal holiday, and everything is closed. And I'm like, no, we haven't gotten there yet. But here in the state of Minnesota, we do recognize Indigenous Day. So more to come. There's still more work to do around that, around celebrating Indigenous Day versus Columbus Day. I had the opportunity last week to attend an event at the Women's Foundation as they were celebrating Ruth Richardson, who is former state rep, who is the current CEO of Planned Parenthood and the first African American to represent Planned Parenthood here in the state of Minnesota. And I just want to share a little things about the Women's Foundation. And Ruth Richardson, I just say, is the story that she shared when she accepted her award was around, it's just too much to say here, but it really was the story of her mother who gave birth. And back in that time, there was doulas and there was midwives who delivered the babies. And she talked about her mother delivering one of her sisters. And there was a few doctors around, and she was in full labor, ready to deliver, and the crown of the baby head, they could see it. And someone came into the room and said to the doctors who was there was that there's another emergency, and we need you immediately. And what they did was that they shoved the head of the baby back up into the mother's, back up into her, right? It was an excruciating pain, by the way, and she had to wait there, right? And fortunate for her sister survived, right? but she had an aunt, and the same thing happened to her. And unfortunately, that baby did not survive. And so it was just a story of those inequities that we see in Black maternal health then and now, and just sharing that experience. There was many looks that happened in that room as she shared that story. It's a powerful story that I've heard before, and but she went on to say, so what that means for today and the work that's still ahead that we have to do when we see that type of inequities that are happening within. It's not always about the mother and where they come from, but also the medical profession. And so trying to make that more fair and equitable. But the Women Foundation work is to invest in ending systemic inequities and driving innovation for gender and racial justice. And the purpose is to invest in innovative community-based, community-led solutions to ensure equal opportunity and pathways to economic security for girls, women, and families across Minnesota is happening. So, and it was good to be there, really around a lot of just great people, great women doing great things. I also had an opportunity to attend Ujamaa Place fundraiser and breakfast last week. Ujamaa Place provides holistic transformation for young African American men experiencing inequities at the intersection of race, racism, and poverty. They help them to achieve brotherhood, stability, and personal success. And so these are usually young men, I think between the ages of 14 and maybe 30. And they're doing the work to, some things about self-empowerment and finding your worth and being successful and surrounding them with the support they need to be successful. And, one of their grounding foundations is to look at them as, not as a dad, but as fathers, and making that a priority, right? So they're connecting that whole family dynamic with the young men and young boys and young men that they're working with. Those are. Oh, and I also attended, I better mention this, the St. Paul Area Chamber had a grand opening of a new small business over on Grand called At Work St. Paul, which is a staffing business. They were really excited to be on Grand Avenue. They was really excited to do this work. And the people that they work with to find jobs, they call associates, right? And so it's really personal about finding what works best for them and placing them with the right company. And even sometime when it doesn't work, they're able to reach back and say, okay, this didn't work for you, let's find you another placement that does work for you. But it was really good to meet the owners, and he shared a powerful story too, as an immigrant coming to America and wanting to have his own business. And he left, he had a really secure job, right, in the market. He decided to just step away from, to really proceed, to really work towards his dream of having a small business. So it's called At Work on Grand Avenue, and I'm sorry, I will have the address at another time, because I think it's important to uplift small businesses. That's it.
And not only a new business, but also supplying employee associates
Yes.
to
Yep.
and being placed in the community
Absolutely.
too. So, Commissioner Jean.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll just share about so many things that went on yesterday too. It was a full 12-hour day that started 8:30 a.m. and ended at 8:30, which includes the celebration of the energy system at the Heights, and they were laying down the pipes, and so we got to celebrate that. And had folks from the city, the mayor, city council members, folks from District Energy, Evergreen, and from the St. Paul Port Authority, and several of the community members who showed up, because this was just so historic. It was many years in the making, and the bold and ambitious goal of net zero was probably not very possible until, until the stars aligned and the state created the Minnesota Green Bank. And our role in it, as a reminder for folks, is that we provided a letter of support which enabled them to receive the first allocation or the first loan ever, even before it opened. And that's demonstrated commitment from all the local governments in support of this. And the loan was to be a bridge loan to be able to get tax credits from the IRA. So that's just an example of how the county had partnered with the city there. And just want to appreciate and lift up, at that time, it was probably Ryan, County Manager Ryan O'Connor, who had also worked on that along with former Chair Martinson. And so we were able to provide that support there. So, and of course, that's why I was invited and participated in it.
Commissioner Zhang, you might want to, I don't think you mentioned that it's geothermal, that's how.
Oh, yes, it's the geothermal, geothermal, and it was laying down the pipes, and also it's, I'm not sure of all the technical terms, but we're using the earth, the ground, to help heat and cool the systems at the heights, yes. So thank you, Chair. In addition to that, we did, just last night was the HRA presentation to Roseville. I tagged along with Commissioner McGuire here, who had also presented other county items. So I'll let you cover some of those. But I thought the meeting went very well. They had a lot of questions more about, just the different sources that were coming in. And I feel like we've done it so much that we're able to help support one another with Director Josh Olson, and we were able to just piggyback and also provide acronyms and what they mean. So I just wanted to give a shout out to the Housing CED team over there. And then let's see, and then finally we had the at Progressive Baptist. It's a local church on the east side, but they do the HBCU tours, and this is in partnership with both the city as well as the St. Paul Public School District. And they sent off 2 full charter buses of kids and chaperones to do tours of like HBCUs. And those are the historically black colleges, and were created because the colleges were created because folks who were black could not attend college. And so that's why they created the colleges, but also that because of its history, but also its embrace of, African Americans. It has a really good track record of supporting the full development of students who attended there. So that's why this has been ongoing for 20 years with a longtime Miss Joanne Clark, who is a resident, a constituent, and has been doing this for 20 years. And so this year they're going to Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama. And so we did a send-off where they heard from the council member, the mayor, and myself just about like how to take this opportunity and send them off well. And then there are several things that are going on too. I have the Ramsey County Children's Mental Health Collaborative. We met as an executive committee also, and we're also discussing and thinking about what's to come ahead, especially with some of the transitions that are going on at another collaborative about looking at just the future and sustainability of it, but also about how more deeply they can also work with other collaboratives as well too, because the St. Paul Children's Collaborative has reached out to them with intention of learning more about mental health for kids, and that's what they do, the Ramsey County Children's Mental Health Collaborative. So that's just an example of how they're broadening and also just assessing. So I also just want to share that, we had this meeting with St. Paul Children's Collaborative about an evaluation of the overall collaboratives. County Manager Becker, I just want to say thank you for joining in on that meeting, but also just to explain about what we are trying to get out of it too, and how we as a county can be a better partner for the collaboratives, because oftentimes they're treated like separate entities or separate nonprofits, and they aren't. They are a public entity, and they have the commissioners, we sit on their boards. We are supposed to be leading and guiding about what a collaborative looks like to serve whole families. So I just appreciate this approach about being open to the questions or the scope of the evaluation, and making sure that all the collaboratives are really working together. And then finally, let's see. I attended SHAC, which is the Statewide Community Health Services Advisory Committee. This is where all the public health boards came together. We had a great speaker. He just shared great story about how local government plays such a big impact in the way and how people can succeed and thrive. And so he just mentioned and gave some really awesome examples of how public policy at the local level, for example, let's see, about cases of lead, about how a local government can provide or reach out for lead case testing. The other one is about infant mortality, which is the #1 indicator of health status in the world. And so, those were just some of the examples of how connecting it to local public health, about how that really impacts our daily lives as well, and the overall health of the community. So that was the big piece and the big takeaway for me with SHAC. And then finally, I attended the task force on the long-term sustainability of affordable housing, and we started providing and looking at some of the solutions of some of the issues around the issues that had been identified in terms of financing, current affordable housing structure, and also supportive housing. And I would say there isn't necessarily some sort of set solution quite yet that had been identified, but we did breakout sessions that is on the path towards that. So with that, Madam Chair, I would be happy to speak with anyone else, but these were a lot of the things that are going on, and just really appreciate the opportunity to report back. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a busy week last week.
Wow, it was. Oh, my gosh.
Commissioner McGuire.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It was a hugely busy week, and I have a lot to report to, but I'm in awe, of course, of my colleagues and all the work that we're all doing throughout the county. You think your schedule's busy, then you hear your colleagues, and you're like, oh my gosh. Just thank you all for all of your work. And I'm going to just start out by acknowledging Indigenous, Peoples' Day yesterday, and just the amazing work that's going on. I know throughout our county as we're trying to be sensitive to that, and I just want to bring some awareness. I've been sensitive and aware of the use of word. We all know that words matter, and it's come to my attention in different meetings that I've been at and in different trainings that I've been at about the use of different words that other people that we should be more sensitive of. And so the word came up in several meetings that I was at this week, and because it was Indigenous Peoples' Day, the word stakeholders. And so there's an article, that it's time to adopt a new word for stakeholders. And I've heard this before, because colonizing settlers staked their claims on land occupied by Indigenous people. So stakeholders are people that staked their claim. And so it was brought to my attention, and I'm just going to read a little bit of portion of this article that I came across. It was actually
put in the chat because I brought it up at a meeting I was at where the word stakeholders was used. And I said, I think we should find different words. So, I'm aware of phrases or words that may trigger others based on injustice and racist colonialism. My thoughts are to always work towards being open to educating ourselves, for understanding to be at the forefront of our decision making, which I think is what we always do at Ramsey County here. When we come in contact with someone that may say they do not like a word or phrase that is spoken, take time to hear them out and better understand why. There are reasons we may not be aware of at the time when we say something. Hopefully all of our actions will be transparent in our compassion and ability to be open and learn from these types of instances. So let's use our words to heal, not harm. And some other words that you can use are interested or effective or relevant parties, collaborators, partners, participants. And so there's other words that we can use rather than the word stakeholders. And so I'm just going to call it to our attention. I've been bringing it up at all PowerPoints that I see, and I'm asking them to change the words. And so I just think as a county we could be more sensitive. We should be sensitive to the words that we use. So just wanted to bring that awareness in honor of Indigenous Peoples Day and bring an awareness to all of us. And I'm happy to share that article with people. So with that, I will continue on with the work of the week, which we say has all been very busy. I was lucky to do new employee orientation remarks, which was always a great honor to be on behalf of the board welcoming our new employees. I want to give a shout out to Janae Sholomith and Kenny Cutler. They're organizing these, and they do a great job at just bringing the group together, and I was honored to be welcoming them. Then Ramsey County League of Local Government had a great collective action team is working on climate action. That's our theme. And they actually got together with a nonprofit, and we applied for a grant, MPCA, Pollution Control Agency grant, to help mobile home parks retrofit so that they can be a bit more energy efficient. And it's just so great. So we just heard the beginning of that. And we have 9 mobile home parks in Ramsey County. And so they're going to be working with all of them to help them, help them retrofit their mobile homes. So more to come on that as that gets rolled out. So we'll have more information that we can get out to the group. So just want to give a shout out to our advisory board interviews and my colleagues, Commissioner Reinhardt, Commissioner Ortega, who did a great job, and we have really amazing people that are applying for these boards. And we were interviewing for Capital Improvement Board, the Ramsey Washington Watershed District, and the Corrections Advisory Board, and it was really exciting to talk to the amazing people that applied for these, and congratulations to those that are going to be recommended, and to those that are not this time, please, we encourage you to continue to apply. So just big shout out on that, Madam Chair. It's a great process, actually.
The Personnel Review Board was
And
also.
the Personnel Review Board, thank you. So, and then the Ramsey County League of Local Governments actual meeting, not the collective action team, which met on Thursday, but Friday morning, there's a 3-part series going on for our Ramsey County League of Local Governments, which, just to remind our viewing audiences, all of the 17 cities in Ramsey County, the school boards, nonprofits are invited, business community, the county, to come together, and we learn about things that impact all of us. And we're doing a whole series on artificial intelligence, and that is really, really good. So shout out to that. And then I know that Commissioner Reinhardt and I were both on the Climate Smart Municipalities meeting that was going on, and we hear about all the things going on in other cities and counties to really be energy efficient. So that was a great meeting. We then, our Optimist Club had just a really ray of hope and inspiration. We had our superintendent of Roseville area schools, Jenny Lake, and Niceta Thomas, her executive director of student services, with 4 of their seniors graduating, who talked about the work that they're doing on racial equity in the Roseville schools. They are part of a program at the school called Advancement via Individual Determination, or AVID, which our Rotary and our Optimist Club are huge supporters of. But these students talked about what they appreciate as far as the work that the Roseville Area Schools is doing on diversity. And the seniors were amazing via Mallory, Sam, and Maria. And it brought us to tears how they talked about the work that they're doing in that area. So shout out to Roseville schools, but I know a lot of our schools are doing this great work. Then we had amazing active living call. Our active living, shout out to Connie Bernardi, who's doing amazing work in, and she's is in charge of doing our ADA transition plan, which is our Americans with Disabilities Act transition plan, which creates a roadmap for our making sidewalks, trails, and other pedestrian facilities more accessible for people with disabilities by removing barriers. So this is a great plan, and people will be able to weigh in on policies and practices, improvement and implementation schedules, grievance procedures, and monitoring progress. So we had a great meeting with our active living community to talk about, how we heard a presentation on it, and we gave feedback on the presentation, and they're planning for an open house on November 19th at the Rondo Community Library in conjunction with the St. Paul Mayor's Advisory Council on People with Disabilities. And so on November 19th, you'll hear much more about this. Rondo Community Library, 3:30 till 5:30 open house, 5:30 to 6:30 presentation. It's the Public Works Transition Plan. And we are really excited about that work. Again, shout out to Connie Bernardi and her whole team, the whole Public Works team, that's doing really amazing work in getting this plan to fruition. And then it was an amazing day yesterday for Ramsey County to be present out in my district. Thank you to all the amazing people that were contributing to the work in our community. I'll shout out first to the Roseville City Council meeting where my colleague Commissioner Zhang did a great job presenting on behalf of the HRA, the Housing and Redevelopment Authority, which she chairs. And there was just, we had 3 different areas of the county presenting. So first of all, we started with the Community and Economic Development, and as we've said, shout out to Josh Olson, our interim director, and Max Holdhusen over there, presenting on the work that we're doing in that area with our levy, HRA levy, and how we can partner with our cities. And Roseville had a lot of questions on how do we make sure we're partnering with them, and it was a great meeting. And then we heard from Anthony McWell, who's one of the managers in our housing stability, and he talked about what we're doing with our unsheltered population. And Roseville has obviously a population in that, of unsheltered people, and we were learning about what the county is doing in that area. So shout out to Anthony. And then we heard about our Environmental Service Center, which is center of the county, but it's located in Roseville. So we got a good update on the service center, which is very exciting, and scheduled to open in the new year, in the beginning of the new year. But Roseville wanted to get an update on that, so thank you to Ray Eden Frank, who came and presented on that. So we had a great group of Ramsey County people presenting at the Roseville City Council. They were super appreciative. We did talk about the food scraps and how we're not so patiently waiting, but I'm not so patiently waiting, but we do know that is coming at some point to our suburban area in a couple of years or so. So we are, anxiously awaiting that. But there's still drop-offs for your organics waste, and we're very excited about that. Also at the Roseville Community Foundation, Julia Wolf from our Healthy Aging was presenting on our healthy aging needs, and then Jeff Eid from our libraries was presenting on what we're doing for our families, because the Roseville Community Foundation wants to give resources to the needs in our community. And so we had Ramsey County people coming and talking about the needs that we have so that we can be better informed on that. So that's the nonprofit community foundation that I'm actually a part of. And we are so grateful that our Ramsey County employees are out and about in the community on a Monday night. Just thanks so much to all of them. We really appreciate it. One last thing, because Madam Chair, We don't meet next week because of Impact, which is a conference that many of us are going to. Impact is a sustainability conference, I call it, but it stands for Mobility, Community, Possibility. And we are going there. It's about biking, walking, and sustainability. And I know that a number of us are going to be at that conference learning about how we can have a sustainable community with our mobility. And then on Monday, the 28th, not next week, but the week after, the AMC District 10 meeting is all of our metro counties are in our Association of Minnesota Counties District 10, and that will be at the Scott County Government Center because Barb Weckman-Brecky is the chair of that committee, and we always do it in the home county. So that's Monday, October 28th from 8 to 1. And just because it's coming up, and I want us to get ready for it, November 11th is Veterans Day, of course, and November we want to have our green lights on for veterans. So that's a big effort that I know that some counties have started. NACO has taken it on, and it's a great effort. So if we can, as we think about this, everybody put their lights on for veterans in the month of November, but especially on November 11th. So thank you, Madam Chair.
And I know Chair Martinson also has brought that to Ramsey County. And I know we got green light bulbs before. So,
Yes.
It's very important.
Yes, Amazon actually gives out green light bulbs, so yes. So
Okay.
Thank you, yes, and you're right. Shout out to Commissioner Martinson, our former Commissioner Martinson, for all her leadership in that area too. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Ortega.
I know, but it was so amazing. I mean, all this
I'm
work.
just exhausted
I know.
from hearing Manager.
Well, and all of us doing all this amazing
No,
work.
I'm only
Yeah.
kidding. Madam Chair, some of it has been already spoken about here. The important discussions I had last week was with had a meeting with the CEO of the Science Museum and the government affairs people. 2 days later, I had a meeting with the CEO of the Wild and their government affairs people. They've got two huge projects, renovation projects going on. And of course, they would like our support, but they're going to the state legislature for money. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars here. And then we have the city who, let me take the arena first. The arena is owned by the city, by government, and Roy Wilkins is owned, or I should say, shared with the Wild, and then the Roy Wilkins is owned by the city. And we know the parking ramp is falling apart, has been for years, and so they're going to build a new private parking lot with private money, the Wild is, where, follow me on this gets really complicated with other parties, with the Travelers parking lot, okay? And I will get information, so that's one of and share it with you folks. At the same time, my meeting with the mayor, he has, we've talked about, he would like to have county support because the split between the Wild and the mayor, and the city of St. Paul is 21% the city and 79% the Wild. Then we have the Science Museum, whose renovations are quite extensive. Both of these are not just renovating, they're changing the footprint of the building and making them larger. And, you know, the city's also, the mayor spoke to me about possible participation of the county to help out the city in terms of financing. So what I've told both of them has been that number one is we need better coordination among themselves because it's been admitted to me that they've attended each other's, they've shared paperwork, but there's not been any discussion in terms of how do we move forward with these huge requests. The other is that they provide the county with a lot of information. I told them specifically that we have both River's Edge and On Hills on our list of priorities. And we need to, and we've been there now for a couple of years, and we need to make sure that those happen for us. So there's a lot of discussion that has to be had with all of these folks. And I also encourage them to start talking to our government affairs people so we get a better sense of how they're proceeding. So this is all preliminary in terms of, all these discussions just took place in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, okay? But I think it's gonna have an impact on us up in the legislature. And I think we need to sort this out and maybe have I'm trying to get the information so the board can have a good discussion about all of these issues and various requests from all of these parties who are in essence competing with us for our projects at the legislature. I don't know if that came out clear, but it's.
Well, and I just want to point out that just listing those things, you can just see how big it is. And I know your leadership on this has already been very helpful for people to think about it as the whole thing.
Yeah.
And clearly, not everything can get done at one time. And so working through that so that each can, you're kind of in some ways a translator, I think, because it impacts our entire community, our entire county.
To your point, I know what I want to make sure is that the board takes all the pieces at one time. We're not getting individual requests and voting them without thinking of the big picture.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I know I said a lot before, but I missed one thing. I know, only because you heard about my amazing schedule and all the people that we had to coordinate. Just shout out to my assistant, Selena Rosario Miles, who actually set up all those calendars. She thanked the City of Roseville, thanked her, the Community Foundation Board. Everyone's thanking her because she's the one that made sure all those pieces fit. And again, shout out to everybody who made it work from all those departments. So, thank you.
Commissioner Moran?
So a couple of things. I found the address because I want people to know there's a small business in the address. So it's 1272 Grant Avenue in St. Paul. And At Work specialized in staffing solutions for the light industrial and office clerical sectors, including direct hire services for leadership roles. They are committed to our mission of being at work for you. At work for you. Okay. And they prioritize understanding and meeting the needs of both job seekers and businesses that I talked about, but also fostering impact that extend far beyond employment. So 1272, if you need a job, you need someone to help you find that and get the skills and the leadership, it goes beyond just placement. 1272 Grand Avenue At Work. And the second thing is, and great people too. Commissioner McGuire, I just want to extend your conversation around the words matters, around the stakeholders, and they absolutely do matter. The word stakeholders, and we're also talking about the word master.
Yes.
Right, and so I think it's, you talked about being sensitive to words, but all how it impacts other individuals who've been impacted by these types of words. So, it goes out to the University of Minnesota Extension Program, community gardeners, and our continued work and conversation with them to look at the word master gardening and find other appropriate word language.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for making that.
Okay, well, our schedules have been very busy, but honestly, our schedules are always busy.
Always right.
And our admin staff, kudos to our admin staff because they keep it all together for us. And sometimes they'll go, oh my gosh, I've got another one, but they make it work for us so that we can actually get to the things we want to get to if the schedule allows. And the fact is, even though we've each talked about a lot of things, and I'll talk about a few things as well, that's just part of our schedule, just part of our schedule. And so, but one of the reasons that we're here is because we care about the community. We want to do the best for the community. And I'm looking at this mug that that Kathleen Murphy loaned to me, and it's from Gandhi. Be the change you wish to see in the world. And that's, I think, everybody sitting around this table really believes in that and is moving forward with that. So I know that your schedules, you had a lot more things on your schedule because I know I did. and somehow we make it all work. And I have to tell you, before I give my update, sitting here today and listening to everything that's been said, it's all really so important. Each thing that we attend and those that we can't attend and send other people to so that we can still get the information, bring it back to our county so that we can do better. Everything that I've heard today is about diversity and multicultural and how we are really holding that up so that we can make a difference in this world. It's been truly inspirational. Now I'll try to be inspirational too. Just a couple of things. I'm going to wait to the last to do the thing that I think is, or talk about the thing that really is inspirational to me. First of all, Indigenous Peoples Day. I know that we've talked about, each one of us have talked about that, but it is something that is so important, and just being able to listen and absorb and celebrate the community and the strength of it is just, it was truly, as I'll use your word, amazing to be there. And it continues. I mean, this is a culture that is very bound to making sure that, again, not only 7 generations ahead, but honoring the past as well and lifting things up. I attended the Climate Smart Municipalities, which is binational. This is the one that is with not only every one of the locals and I just about did it there. Participants from across Minnesota and in Germany. And it's really something that we can learn so much from each other. So it's not just us, it's the entire world. I attended a kind of a planning session, but really it's like all the next steps. We have been working on Highway 96 through Washington County into Ramsey County, including the Lake Links, and trying to get that completed for so long. And we are really trying to figure out how to make sure that we get all the different pieces and finally getting them together instead of looking at it kind of piecemeal, which is pretty easy to do when it's in your community versus somebody else's community, but really looking at it as a whole. And Commissioner Mirren was there along with staff and city officials from every part of the community that touches that portion of Highway 96. So it was, I think we've got a good plan going forward. I also attended the Recycling and Energy Center Finance Committee, and things are coming together there. It seems slow, but at the same time, because we've been working on it for so long, and all the different pieces, and trying to deal with changing regulations, so there'll be some recommendations that will be coming back to the full board. As at the last meeting of the full board, Commissioner Mirren said, we likely will have to have some additional meetings in December because we've got so much that's right in front of us right now as far as the anaerobic digester, PFAS and PFOAs, and the forever chemicals that we are trying to deal with, the federal government is trying to deal with. There's so many different pieces to this, and we're so excited about the transfer stations, which will allow for the expansion of the organics. People think, well, why can't you just do it? Yeah. Well, because we don't have the capacity, and this is the artificial intelligence and pulling those bags out. We have 2 more places that are going to be built, but we needed to get those in place before we can actually expand it, because we just simply don't have the capacity, which is kind of a good thing in some ways, because we know that the need is there, and hopefully we'll get more and more people to the point where it is just what you would do. You don't You compost, or you deal with your organics, which is 20% of the waste stream, in a very environmentally friendly way. The other thing that I want to talk about is my husband and I were able to attend the memorial service for Scott Lacey. Scott Lacey was an employee of the nursing home for a long time, and when we closed that and we offered to our employees, and I want to really share all of this with you because we were very forward-thinking when we closed that and said we're going to have a way for any employee there that wants to work someplace else in the county to be able to do that. That wasn't an easy thing to do. But we did that, and I think somebody said it was like 70% of them took advantage of that. Some retired, some moved on to something else. But Scott was one of them. So he absolutely loved the people in the nursing home, and he chose to go to Parks and Rec. He recently died, and so we had the memorial service through Parks and Rec. And I was really kind of blown away by the impact that one person can have in the community. I was there and I felt the warmth of the community, the warmth of the Ramsey County family. And sometimes as commissioners, we don't get to touch that as closely as I was able to on Saturday. I also found out about the fact that he was a photographer. And I will please go to Photos by Scott Lacey. It's Lacey. I went to and did that, and because I thought, okay, there's some photos, it'll be nice. I was in awe of the talent of the artist that was Scott Lacey. He will be so missed. His family, he was from Florida. His brother and sister were at the memorial, and the stories that were told, I don't think there was a dry eye in the house. And so when we think about the impact of some of the decisions that we make and some of the decisions that how we care for people in our community and how we care for our employees and how they come together. And so it was Parks and Rec staff. It was at the Goodrich Clubhouse, and it was overflow. There were so many people there to celebrate him. So I wanted to highlight that today because sometimes we get so busy in life that we forget that we need to celebrate the gifts of others and his gifts. With that, we will adjourn. I will adjourn this meeting. I do want to make one announcement, and that is that the closed session that we had scheduled for noon regarding Rice Creek Commons will be rescheduled. So we have immediately following this board meeting, we have the Regional Rail Authority meeting, and then we have a closed meeting at 10:30. We also have a workshop, which is going to be, I'm sure, very lively, and that is the 2025, the workshop this afternoon at 1:30 is the 2025 Legislative Platform Proposals and Updates. And we've got a lot that's going on, and we've talked actually during our budget process and a number of other things. The projects that we're talking about are coming forward. There's opportunity, and we need to make sure that we have our voices heard up at the Capitol. Okay, with that, thank you for an inspirational meeting today. Truly, the work of this board isn't just sitting around this table. In fact, that's not the biggest part of our work. The biggest part of our work is all of the things that we do, all the committees and boards and task forces that we serve on, so that we can bring that knowledge back to this table to make the best decisions for our community.